You may forget most of what you learned this morning by tonight end, lest you interrupt the curve. That line is not a scare tactic. It is a description of how human memory actually behaves. The forgetting curve, first mapped by the German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus in the late 19th century, shows a sharp drop in what you can recall shortly after learning, followed by a slower decline that levels off. In other words, memory fades quickly at first, then stabilizes as less you reinforce it. Today, I will show you why that happens and, more importantly, how to fight back with methods that work. Imagine this. You leave a 90-minute lecture or a long team meeting feeling confident. You understood every slide, nodded at every point, and maybe even thought, "I have got this." Fast forward 24 hours. The main ideas are there, but details feel fuzzy. At 48 hours, names, numbers, and examples have thinned out even more. Without any review, many people are shocked by how little they can retrieve. This is not a personal failure. It is the default setting of a brain that is efficient, selective, and constantly triaging what to keep. Why does memory fall off like this? First, memory traces weaken without retrieval. Think of a path across a field of grass. The first time you walk it, the grass bends a little. If you keep walking it, the path becomes obvious. If you stop, the grass springs back. Retrieval is the act of walking the path again, so it does not vanish. Second, new learning interferes with old learning. Your brain is not an inbox where items stack neatly. It is a dynamic network where similar items can crowd or override each other. Learn a new list of terms after the old one, and the new list might block access to the earlier list. Third, shallow encoding fails to stick. When you glance through notes or listen passively, your brain records surface features without building meaning. Those traces are fragile and easy to lose. Finally, consolidation requires time and sleep. During sleep, especially deep and REM sleep, your brain replays and reorganizes information, stabilizing it in long-term storage. If sleep is cut short, or if you never revisit the material, that stabilization is weak. So what can you do to interrupt the curve? You use evidence-based strategies that make forgetting work for you instead of against you. Start with spaced repetition. Spacing means you review material in short, focused bursts separated by time gaps that gradually expand. That gap is not wasted time. It is the ingredient that makes the next review bite deeper. When a little forgetting has happened, your next retrieval requires more effort. That effort is exactly what strengthens the memory. Think of weight training. You do not lift once for 90 minutes and call it a month. You lift multiple times across days, allowing recovery in between. Spaced repetition is cognitive strength training. Pair spacing with active recall. Active recall means you try to bring the information to mind without looking at it. Close the notes, hide the textbook. Look away from the slide. Now ask yourself, what are the 3 key steps? What formula applies here? How would I explain this to someone else? When you struggle a bit and then succeed, you tell your brain, this mattered. Keep it. Rereading feels comfortable, but it tricks you with familiarity. You recognize the words, and that recognition feels like learning. Testing yourself feels uncomfortable, but it is the discomfort that builds durable memory. Add interleaving. Instead of practicing one type of problem or one topic in a long block, mix related topics in the same session. Rotate, for example, between 2 statistics problem types or 3 anatomy systems. Interleaving forces your brain to notice what is similar and what is different. You get better at choosing the right approach, not just repeating one routine. It can feel harder in the moment, but the payoff shows up in long-term retention and transfer. Use elaboration. Elaboration means you connect new ideas to things you already know and restate them in your own words. Ask, why does this concept matter? What is a real example of this? How does it differ from the previous chapter? When you create meaning and make links, you add hooks for retrieval. You are not just stacking facts. You are weaving them into a net that is easier to grab later. Finally, perform a quick immediate review after first learning. The minutes right after a lecture, meeting, or study session are golden. Use 5 to 10 minutes to sketch a summary from memory. List 3 key points or write 2 questions you could be tested on. That small investment slows the initial drop on the forgetting curve and sets up your next spaced session. Here is a simple schedule that combines these ideas and is easy to implement. Learn the material on day 0. After about 10 minutes, do a short retrieve. Close your materials and write or say what you remember for 2 to 5 minutes. Then check against your notes and fill gaps. Come back on day 1 for a brief review and a few active recall questions. Return on day 3 for another short session. Then day 7. Then day 14. After that, review monthly. Each session is short, often 5 to 15 minutes. Each one uses retrieval first, then checking rather than rereading first. If you miss a session, do not abandon the plan. Pick it up at the next slot. Let us apply this to the lecture or meeting example. Right after the session ends, you jot down a 3-sentence summary and 2 action points from memory, then peek at the slides to patch holes. The next day, you open a blank page and write the key framework, the main numbers, and 1 example. Then you check the original. On day 3, you test yourself with 3 questions you or a colleague might ask. On day 7, you explain the core idea to a friend or to your future self on a voice memo in 1 minute. On day 14, you do a quick flashcard run or solve 1 practice problem. Each touch is small, but together, they flatten the forgetting curve dramatically. 2 practical tips make this even smoother. First, track your sessions. A simple grid: rows for topics, columns for day 0, 10 minutes. Day 1, day 3, day 7, day 14, and monthly keeps you honest and removes the guesswork. Second, keep your sessions lean. If a topic is easy, a 2-minute recall prompt might be enough. If it is tough, go 5 to 10 minutes, then move on. The goal is not marathon studying. It is repeated, effortful retrieval spaced over time. What about common obstacles? If you feel that active recall is slow, remember that speed while studying does not equal speed in remembering later. The easy glide of rereading is a false friend. If you worry that interleaving makes you feel less confident, notice that feeling and do it anyway. The very reason you feel less fluent during practice is the reason you will be more fluent under pressure. If you claim you have no time, start at the smallest scale. Even a 1-minute recall after a meeting and a 2-minute check the next day is better than nothing. The curve punishes zero review and rewards even tiny efforts. Sleep deserves its own note. A consolidation is not optional. Protect 7 to 9 hours when possible and avoid cramming that steals sleep. If you must choose between a late-night reread and 30 minutes of sleep, very often the sleep returns more benefit. Your brain does not just record while you are awake. It also edits, stabilizes, and integrates while you are asleep. Let me leave you with a compact routine you can start today. After any learning session, set a timer for 10 minutes and do a quick retrieval. Put 3 spaced reviews on your calendar for day 1, day 3, and day 7. During each review, spend most of the time trying to recall, not rereading. Mix in 1 or 2 related topics to interleave. Add a monthly maintenance review to keep knowledge alive. Whenever possible, explain the idea out loud to someone else or to yourself, because teaching forces elaboration. And protect your sleep window so consolidation can do its job. The forgetting curve is real, but it is not a sentence. It is a signal. It tells you that forgetting is the default. Remembering is something you design with spacing, retrieval, mixing, meaning, and rest. If you build that design into your week, you will keep what matters and let the rest fade without guilt. Forgetting is the default. Remembering is designed. Space your reviews, test yourself, and protect sleep to lock memories in.